Oh boy. Morbius. Or Morbius. Hey guys, Punch here. And yep, we're taking a look at the most infamous movie of 2022. Morbius. Released by Columbia Pictures alongside Marvel Enterprises. Now, let's get one thing out of the way. I think that the history behind Morbius is honestly pretty interesting. The movie was I don't know if the movie was highly anticipated, but when it came out, it was negatively received by critics. I think then was a box office bomb, and the negative reception was so bad it led to the film becoming several memes. I'm pretty sure I don't know if that was either. I'm pretty sure it was either that dance sequence or some of the visual effects that caused the search of memes, but let's just say that this movie has gone a lot, got a lot of memes, and then Sony looked at those memes and thought, how about we re-release the movie? So yeah, Sony re-released Morbius again, and guess what? The movie bombed a second time. Wow, you released the film twice, and it was a critical and commercial disaster both times. That's how bad this movie was. So I decided, you know what, to close out 2022, I honestly wanted to review some 2022 films before we move on to 2023, and maybe possibly I could do a every movie I saw in 2022 rank. So I saw Morbius yesterday, and where do we begin with this? Yeah. I think it's pretty reasonable. I have no hesitation in saying that Morbius is one of the worst, if not the worst, movie of 2022. So let's get this. So let's get to my reasons why I say that. But first, plot. So the movie involves this doctor named Michael Morbius, who is hoping to find a cure for his for one for hoping to find a cure for like a disease. So and the cure ended up being blood from bats, and however during the test, then he quickly becomes a vampire-ish, more of a vampire. Him and Milo. So he has to learn how to control his powers, and also stop his brother Milo, who also has taken the serum. Okay, where do we begin? All right, let's get to the obvious thing. For starters, I mean, if you go to Wikipedia and look at the Morbius, the movie was based on the character, and for the most part, the movie is faithful to the character itself. But unfortunately, execution wise, completely butchers it. Why? It's because my giant issue with Morbius is that this movie decides to is that it doesn't know if it wants to be the movie based off the character, which it is definitely. And also, it literally decides to shoehorn some new changes to the story, which isn't bad, but it's poorly executed here. Because now all of a sudden, Milo has decided to take the serum, so he also can have the same effects. So he can also like to avoid dying. And oh my god. And then the relationship between Michael and Morbius was fine up until the whole Milo takes the serum, which his character personality, I'll tell you this, that it's pretty damn confusing. And like he at one point he's caring to he's care he he's care the bit that he is concerned about Michael, but then all of a sudden now in the other scene he's just like he wants Michael to accept his. And then the fighting scene, the, again, his character personality just rapidly changed throughout the movie without a clear explanation. It just feels like he's caring at one point, but all of a sudden then you got this like evil face scheme, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's evil because movie changed it. I mean, it's similar to 4, but at least with 4, at least the character actually there has a reasonable motivation. Here, is that he's doing this is because he wants Michael to accept himself. So before Loki did all this is because he felt like he was unappreciated, and he felt like the Odin favors Thor, and that could be a reason why he's doing this. But with Morbius, it just feels like he's doing this is because of Michael. It's because he's worried about Michael. That character personality just completely gets tossed out the window when Michael revealed himself where he took the serum. I'm sorry, but Michael's personality change was really terrible here. It was poorly executed. Also, why would you have him take the serum? Why can't it just be Morbius testing out, trying to control it? But of course, we need a villain in the story. We need a villain. I guess that's reasonable to have a villain here, but could have come up with a creative villain, really. Now, I get the fact that the whole change in story thing isn't technically a bad thing, with Michael also getting taking the serum, but again, they have. I mean, again, they had an opportunity to have a new story, and they badly butcher it because of Milo's portrayal here. And also, let's get to the visual effects. Now, usually when it comes to bad superhero movies, they usually tend to have great action sequences. When it comes to bad action movies, they tend to have great action sequence. And that's another thing where Morbius failed at, the action sequences. Admittedly, the visual effects are pretty cheap looking, as most of the visual effects are just contain the whole wavy, tend to have this wavy, misty waves surrounding the characters in the city, and I just find that cheap and lazy, especially when the characters fly. It just looks really, really cheap and really cheap and pathetic. And it just feel and the visual effects look cheap because of the whole like I said, the wavy misty scenes just make the story just doesn't look good here. Oh yeah, remember there were some relationships between Michael and Martine, and there was a scene where they kissed, but of course, that scene was completely rushed. Then Martine is killed. So, and apparently in the story, in the original, it was apparently Michael that killed it, but nope, it's Milo who kills him, and then Michael then sucks the blood out of her. And then now in the end of the movie, Martine is similar to the other one, to Morbius, to Michael and Milo for no odd reason. And besides, their relationship between Michael and Martine could have been good, except the fact that they decided to completely rush that scene. They decided to completely rush the relationship. That is just fantastic. Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, let's also talk about this whole... after that final battle, which was completely disappointing, and honestly does not make any sense of bats attacking Milo. But what I guess the bats were needed for a scene, but let's also talk about those two post-credit scenes. You got Aiden Toombs, who was unnecessary. I have one post and credits post scene where Aiden Toombs is out of jail. That's completely shoehorned in, and it's and all of a sudden it wasn't even explained how he got to jail. I mean, yes, he was teleported there, but in the cell, but Again, what does this all have to do with Morbius? Oh yeah, in the second, I guess, and that's also, and I'm guessing that's also, I guess that's there for the second post-credit scene as Michael meets up with Toon, saying that they should team up. For that, I was wondering, what was the point of those? What I was like, those credits post credit scenes felt unnecessary and was pointlessly shoehorned in. I'm guessing that they were added there because, oh, what if Columbia and Sony wanted to make a sequel? But of course of course I don't even know what was going on during those post credit scenes, and they felt really unnecessary here. I do get that Michael's motivation for finding a cure is reasonable since he wants to save Milo, but again, it's completely bad executed here because again, the story decides to go to unnecessary changes that would have worked, but was badly butchered because of the whole. It's because we need to have another character have the same effects as Morbius, as Michael. Overall, I highly recommend you don't watch this movie. Morbius is a movie that had an opportunity to have a new story, except they completely badly butchered the film. It was badly butchered for cheap visual effects, character personality, the character personality that was completely changed throughout the movie without any clear explanation. The relationships feel rushed. They feel rushed. We got two unnecessarily post-credit scenes that don't explain us to anything. And in fact, some of these elements are a bit too much for a PG-13 rated movie. And that's all I have to say. Morbius is just full with, like I said, badly butchered new story, cheap visual effects, did terrible character changes, and rushed relationships, and that's all I have to say. So, overall, this movie is going to get a 2 out of 10, and it's the worst movie of 2022. I cannot believe how it's even worse than Transformers 4, because at least Transformers 4, at least despite it had some moments that stand out, like despite the visual effects actually looking cool, despite the action sequence being lackluster, and so at least the action sequence in Transformers 4 were actually the visual effects saved the action sequence from being really bad, even though the action sequence in that movie was lackluster. But here, Morbius literally has little to nothing to redeem itself. It's just a terrible, god awful movie. So it's gonna get a 2 out of 10, and I highly recommend you avoid this movie. And watching this movie bomb twice is actually isn't that shocking. So yeah. So I'm surprised, and I wonder if those memes came from that dancing sequences. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be sure to post movie reviews, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.